All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're looking at buying and renting. I want to kind of dispose of a lot of myths that you have to have a lot of money to own a house, or that it's really expensive to buy as opposed to rent, and that you actually save money by renting. So just a spoiler alert, I'm gonna say that owning wins. So that's a little bit of a spoiler. But first, let's start with the possibility of repairs and the costs associated with that. When you rent a house, repairs are normally handled by the landlord or the property management company. You normally don't have to pay any costs associated with repairs because it's already factored inside of your rent that you're paying. Or when you own a house, you don't have anybody else to lean on as far as who fixes things or whatever. So it's on you to be able to fix those things and to handle those situations. There's a few ways you can do that to help minimize the cost or the burden of those along the way. When you rent a house, you typically are paying the owner's mortgage as well as a little bit added on top of that, a few $100s added on top of that goes inside of the owner's pocket, and that's how they make their money. So when you own a house, you normally are paying a good amount less than that same rent would be on that same house. If you put aside the savings from owning the house as opposed to renting it, put aside the savings of like a few $100s for about a year and a half, you'll be able to cover basically any expense that comes up, from your roof to windows to appliances. You'll be able to cover that. For bigger items, you're able to get a thing that's called a home warranty. Home warranties range from $480 is the lowest I've seen to upwards of $800 depending on the size of your house and who the provider is. Home warranties are great. They cover basically everything in the house as far as like your windows, your walls, your flooring, your roof, your ceilings, the foundation, your brick or your vinyl or whatever. They cover basically everything as well as your appliances. And if anything goes wrong, you just pay a service fee of it's normally under $100. The company I use, who is Choice Home Warranty, they normally are $480 for their biggest package and a service fee of $65 each call out, and they will come out and diagnose the issue and then fix or repair whatever needs to be fixed or replaced. So that's one way to minimize your cost and how to budget for expenses as far as repairs when you own a house, because you don't have anybody else who can take care of it other than you. The other thing is that let's look at just the cost of renting versus the cost of paying a mortgage. Normally, if you take the exact same level house, your mortgage is going to be a few $100s less than than that same level house of renting, which means that you're able to keep a good amount of that money in your pocket or put it in a savings account for repairs until you have enough saved up there. Then you're able to keep on saving money past that. Even if you have to make a repair of like $1,000 out of pocket, then that's only a few months of savings from the difference in rent and mortgage, but you're able to keep on saving after that. So that can help out a whole lot too. The other thing is, when you rent a house, you're paying rent every month, and we just say a round number of $1,000. You're paying $1,000 every month, $12,000 in a year. Like in 36,000 in 3 years, you're paying that every time. And when you move out, you don't get any of that money back. You may get a deposit back, or you may get hit with fees for damages when they're not really damages, it's just lived in, you know. So you move out, you don't get anything. You may actually end up paying more just to move out of the house. The other side is that when you own the house, you're paying a mortgage every month, and from the balance, your principal balance, that's getting lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. And ideally, your value is right where it is or going up. So if you ever move out of that house that you own, which means you're gonna either rent it out or sell it. If you rent it out, then that's money going in your pocket every month. You pay your mortgage with that, and money going in your pocket every month. And once the mortgage is paid off, you're pocketing that whole amount, every month. The other end of that is you're able to sell your house, and you move out and sell your house, and now you're able to pocket tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars based off the amount of equity you have in the house. So there's a side of you're building wealth on the side of owning the house, but you're not building anything at all. You're just throwing money out the window when you rent. The other side of it is that when you rent a house, you sign a lease. Normally that's a 1 or 2 year lease that you sign. The landlord only has obligation to allow you to live there for the term of the lease. So once that 1 or 2 year term lease is up, even if you don't want to move, they may tell you that you have to, and there's not really anything you're able to do about it because you fulfilled your lease and that term is up, and they're able to lease it out at another person. They're able to raise the price of the rent. Or like they're just able to go up and the landlord, you have paid off their mortgage. Now they're gonna go and sell the property and pocket money as well. When you own the house, there's very limited things that can make you move out of that house or sell that house. The main one being if you're not paying your mortgage, which would be the same thing as not paying your rent. You would eventually get evicted out of a house, and you would have to sell your house if you owned it, and you get evicted out of one that you rent. So that's not really a con on the side of owning a house, because the same thing happens on the side of renting. It's actually a pro, because the process of having a house foreclosed on is much longer than the process of getting evicted after not paying 1 or 2 months rent. A foreclosure actually takes a good amount of time, so you have a lot more chances in order to get back on your feet if you do own the house. So there's an extra layer of security when you own the house as far as everything. You're not able to get kicked out. You're not able to be forced to move if you don't want to. You're able to make the changes you want to make in the house. When you're renting, you can only do a certain amount, and then they may add on fees if you change anything. But owning, it's your house. You're able to do whatever you want. And the most important thing is that you're building generational wealth. When you own a house, you're building wealth. Every month you pay that mortgage, you're lowering on that principal. And if your house is in a good area and you keep it in good shape, then your property value is going up. That's the thing you're able to pass on to your kids and your kids' kids and your kids after that. And they're able to use it as an income property, or eventually sell the house and make thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars off that property that you bought whenever you bought it at. So it's a way to build generational wealth. It's a reason that the wealthy keep a lot of their riches in real estate, and that's because homes will always be needed. The property is very limited, and homes will always be needed. Worst case, you're able to rent it out. In best case, you just have it there building wealth, or you're living in it, or your kids are using it as like an income property that pays their bills. And you can't do that when you rent. You're not able to pass anything on. Like if you rented a house for 15 or 20 years and then you pass away, and your kids are like, okay, or your kids lived with you, and you pass away and the lease was in your name, that landlord's not obligated to even allow your kids to live there another month or two. They're not even obligated to do that. But if you own that house, then you pass that house on down, and now your kids have a place to stay, or they have the property to use as an income property. And it just is an all-around better package. So there's not anything that anyone can tell me to make me think that renting is better than owning, unless you only plan on living where you are for a limited amount of time. Like you only plan on staying here in the other state you live in or city you live in for a year or two. Then maybe buying a house is not for you at that time. But if you plan on staying there 5 or 10 years or anything along those lines, then definitely owning, so that when you move, you're able to get back a little bit of that money that you've been paying all this time for where you stay. So renting or owning, I'll let you decide which one is the best, but I've told you my opinion. So yeah. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe, and hit the little bell thing right there if you want to get notifications on more videos. If you like the new format, let me know. I'm changing it up. I want it to be a lot more relaxed, a lot more natural, and a lot less scripted, and give you guys like the real experience of how I am in real life. So yeah, so I will check in with you guys later. I'm out.
I need a house in the hills that come with a deck and a grill. So all of my niggas we been cooking for real. I gotta get back to the real. We gotta get back to the field. This all my people is looking up still. Said I need a house in the hills that come with a